The 611th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their Pick 8. Sign up today with promo code MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Build your own betting model using their AI betting engine. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Of the MMA Gambling Podcast, the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to All Natural 247, one of our friends in the Discord who hit a 5-fight parlay at UFC Denver, and we love ourselves some parlays, but it hit. So congrats to you, congrats to everyone listening and watching us, because it's going to be another great episode here. I'm one of your hosts, King of Kung Fu, Jeff Fox, and we are covering KSW today. We're back with KSW 96. Cage Wars we did yesterday. Day before we did Octagon. So we got 3 of the big heavyweights in Europe, European regional MMA. So we gave you a bunch of winning picks for that. We have odds for today's KSW event, which is always good. We're going to break down the event for you with the king. I'm the king of Kung Fu. He is the king of regional MMA picking. It's Daniel Gumby Vreeland. Hello.
I appreciate the moniker. I also appreciate everybody who subscribes to us on YouTube. If you click the little button below my name, you can even turn off notifications. It makes no difference to me because it will make my life better. The little number on our subscribers goes up and it will make my bosses happy. So if you enjoy the content, you like people talking about regional MMA on YouTube, there's pretty much nobody doing it as much as us. So click that subscribe button, get the notifications so that you can find out about all these regional events you know nothing about. And win a little bit of money in the process.
Yep. Why would you click on this video if you didn't like regional MMA, right?
You got to be a psycho.
You got to be a psycho, or like maybe a 1-year-old that they, on their iPad, they might be clicking here.
It's possible. It's also possible.
Yeah, it's going to mess up our demographics, but that's fine. Hopefully it's a female, because that will help.
I saw we're up numbers. To 0.8% women who watch.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. But we have females that have reached out, but then we never hear from them again. So I don't know what that says about us, but yeah.
The eye candy's not good enough on this show.
No, it's true. We are not, there's no thirst traps or clickbaits here. But we do have Konfrontacja Stutz Walkie, which I butchered once again. Can you say it better than that?
Konfrontation Stuxwelki.
Oh, there you go. It is KSW 96, you may know it as. Pawlak versus Janikowski 2. It's going down in Łódź, Poland. So you can hear Jeff butcher some more names on this here event. We only have 9 fights listed for this one. It's going down Saturday. You think they're going to add more last minute, or do they usually have more than this, right?
They usually got a touch more, but they're sometimes a little bit short of a UFC card. So 9 is not really out of the question. And they're also not the type who throw fights together, 2 days before an event, much like the UFC, just to make sure they hit the numbers they need.
Yeah, the UFC screwed us over. I guess we both would have picked Evan Elder over Darius Flowers, right? So
I'm not picking Darius Flowers over anybody.
No, it is true. If you want longer fight cards than Cage Wars that we did yesterday, he's got 20 fights on it. So maybe that's more of your speed. But no, we're doing the 9-fight card. This is a Saturday event as well, so you're gonna have to triple screen, which I guess isn't out of the question these days. You have to triple screen the 3 events. We got Octagon, we got Cage Wars, we got KSW. KSW is going down at 1 Eastern. So they're all going down around the same time. Send us your pictures of your setups in our Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Show us all your different screens watching all this event. And then is UFC, I haven't even looked ahead yet. Is UFC this weekend?
An earlier fight card, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it is. My goodness gracious, Gumby. It's going to be quadruple screens going down. All right, before we get to all that fun, let me tell you, it's almost college football season, ladies and gentlemen. Sports Gambling and the Sports Gambling Podcast is getting ready, and they're getting you ready for college football with their conference previews. So it's the Sports Gambling Podcast that the bosses host. So tune in wherever you get your podcast, or on the SGPN app, and of course on YouTube. All right, let's jump into this fight card. Saturday, 1 p.m., as I said. The Sport Arena in Łódź, Poland, in a cage, 9 fights. They kind of got an old school style poster for it, which is fun. Thoughts on the fight card before we jump into the 5 fights, the top 5 fights?
Too many rematches.
Too many rematches. Yeah, well, we're not big in rematches. That's for sure. Hopefully, I didn't overlook any of the rematches here. Is there rematches here? Okay, there's one. All right. I've got 2 rematches.
There's
Did I miss
2
anything?
Yeah, 2 on the main card. You're fine.
Okay, good. Whew. Thank you. That's another thing.
I'm just like sometimes they have like their last event. The main event was the 5th version of the fight between the 2 people, and like we don't need a quintilogy.
Yeah. And if you haven't watched KSW before, hopefully you enjoy temporary tattoos with sponsors' names all over fighters' bodies, right?
Yeah, it's sick.
They are big on that. All right. I assume it's temporary tattoos. Anyhow. All right. We are breaking things down first with a female fight. Women's flyweight. Karolina Owczarz. It's Polish, so you know I'm going to butcher it. Karolina what, Gumby?
Owczarz.
Yeah, that makes always when you say it, like, oh yeah, of course. Owczarz. Sandra Succar. She is from Lebanon. We had another Lebanese fighter last week that we covered, didn't we?
Couple of them.
Cool. So Lebanon on the come up. All right, 3 5-minute rounds, 125 pounds. Gumby knows the odds, so I can blur it out whatever I want. Owczarz Owsa is the nickname. 5-3, 2 submissions. She's been submitted once. 5-3 in KSW. So all those fights are at a pretty high level here. Loss over her last 5 fights. She did get submitted in her last fight. That was back in April 2023, plus 105. Succar. Is it Succar?
It's Succar. Yeah.
Succar, the Cedars gal. Any idea what we're talking about here?
I think it's a reference to the Lebanese flag that has a cedar on it, cool. Right?
I like it. The Cedars gal. I approve of this nickname. She is 4-1, 1 knockout, 1 submission. She's never been finished in a fight. 1-1 in KSW. She did win her last fight. Used to fight up at bantamweight, 6 years younger than Owczarz. I'm still butchering it. 2 inches taller, minus 138.
Yeah, I'm gonna go favorite here out the gate with Succar. I do worry a little bit that she leaves her chin really high when she strikes. Like it's almost comical that she's doing such the wrong thing in such like an obvious fashion. But at the end of the day, Owczarz is a fighter who is looking for the jiu-jitsu side of things, and she is a substantially worse wrestler than Succar is. Like I think Succar's takedown game, her positional jiu-jitsu, especially the positional jiu-jitsu, I think maybe is her best advantage, because like if she gets in a bad position, she does the right thing, comes out on top, creates a scramble. Owczarz, even when she's in a great position, sometimes does the overly risky thing for no damn reason and winds up like, falling off the top of the back, winding up on an armbar that she's definitely not going to finish. Like, like she's just like risky for the sake of being risky because she thinks she can get a finish, and probably did on the early stages of her career. I think where she is now, Succar is not going to give her that. I also think Succar is going to be on top for most of this fight. Again, I hope Succar does not strike for more than 10 seconds. And I don't think Owczarz is going to be the type who takes advantage of that anyway, but I'm going to go with Succar as a slight favorite here.
All right. Mark it down. All right, let's move on to a men's fight, middleweight. Dominik Humburger from the Czech Republic. He's up against another Polish fighter. Let's see how I do with this name. Polish seems to be the spot that is my weak spot here. Radosław Paczuski. That's not that. Paczuski. I still butchered it. Paczuski. You're pretty good with the Polish names, Gumby.
Thank you. At least I think I am. If I'm not good and there's a Polish person watching, please tell me I'm wrong. I don't mind.
Yeah,
I just give
please tell him he's wrong.
Based on the pronunciation of some of my friends who are Polish. CZ is usually like a sh sound or a s sound.
It'd be true. All right. Humburger, 8-1 with 7 knockouts. Never been finished in a fight. 3-1 in KSW. Won his last fight via TKO. 3 years younger than Paczuski, plus 120. Paczuski Radek is the nickname. 5-2 with 4 knockouts. He's been knocked out once. 2-2 in KSW. He's lost 2 straight fights, including his last fight via TKO. That was back in June of 2023. 6-0 in pro kickboxing and won a championship there. An inch of height, 3 inches of reach over Humburger, minus 163.
I'm going to take a swing on Humburger here. I think this is one of those classic. Both these guys would prefer that this fight stay on the feet, but they have very different approaches to it on the feet. Paczuski is a guy who is just going to try to turn this into a brawl as best as he possibly can. He's going to go throw big punches. He's going to try to make this as ugly as it can possibly be. And I actually trust Humburger to maintain distance, stay a little safe, and fight like a more technical fight the whole time, which is why I like him here. I really like the way he works behind his jab. I really like the way anytime his opponent winds up, he decides not to step in the middle of there, but rather to get out of range. He will throw that low leg kick, which I appreciate too, which is going to deter Paczuski from a lot of the stuff he does. But yeah, I like Humburger here to keep this. I don't want to say a more boring fight. That almost seems like it's derogatory to Humburger. Also, I was almost positive Humburger got signed to Contender Series. Like I had heard rumblings from prospect people like, look for Dominik Humburger this year on Contender Series. And why would they say that about a guy if he wasn't like in the verge of signing for him? So I don't know if maybe they needed to take one more fight. He couldn't get a visa or something like that. But I mean, like, you'll see what the prospect people like about him, and that's, you know, he's clean on the feet. So I'll take the more clean striker here, and especially getting dog money on him.
Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of Czech language articles saying exactly what you said, that he should be showing up on Contender Series. So apparently it didn't happen. Interesting. Gumby, maybe it will after this. Maybe he'll just go right to the UFC after a big win here. All right, before we move on, Underdog Fantasy has pick 8, and it's now live. You can create entries with up to 8 picks. Underdog will automatically double flex your entries, so you can miss up to 2 picks and still win your entry. With more picks to make and extra ways to win, the excitement is higher than ever. The best part, you can win up to 325 times your original amount. You can now use specials and boosts on all flex entries. Today, the day after the All-Star game, is always the deadest day in the sports world. Because I guess there's WNBA is on still. They have an All-Star game, but is not till the weekend. So I guess there's WNBA today.
No.
Picks for anything?
I'll say, you can go to the Vegas Summer League, and we'll take.
Oh, that's true. Yep.
Matas Buzelis. We'll take his higher than on his points. Actually, you could probably take the higher than on his assists too, or if you can get a line on his points plus assists. I mean, I like that too, because the guy looks like he can shoot, and damn, is he passing the ball well. So give me Matas Buzelis.
There you go. Don't miss your chance to try a pick 8 before it is gone. Sign up with our promo code MMASGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit. Offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMASGPN. Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. And, of course, Circa contests have no rake. Circa Millions, you pick 5 NFL teams against the spread each week. You can compete for $6 million, or you can survive the NFL gauntlet to claim the $10 million prize. Sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with football contest proxy.com to save you $50 with promo code SGP. Don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet before football? Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to go hang out. You can hang out with our bosses, Ryan and Sean, and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sportsbook in the world, August 22nd through the 24th. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving right along. 0.08%, ladies. We are going to a female fight. Speaking of ladies, is that the next fight we're doing, Gumby? No, it's not. I skipped one. We are doing. I skipped one. Men's lightweight. Bartłomiej Kopera from Poland. How do you say the first name, Gumby?
Bartłomiej.
Bartłomiej. Yeah, the O I forgot. Bartłomiej. Kopera versus Dawid Śmiełowski from Poland. Dawid, yeah, it's spelled Dawid. It's the weed. It's the weed. There's a title for us. It's the weed. All right. You've already read this, people who have listened to this. All right, this is Polish versus Polish violence at lightweight. I will tell you about Kopera. First, Malpa is the nickname. Malpa. Do you know what a Malpa is?
Bad grandpa.
It's that's good. It works. It's a monkey.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Very good. Very, very smart of you. Kopera is 13-7 with 8 submissions. He's been knocked out once, 0-4 in KSW. Ouch. He's won 4 straight fights. Before that, he lost 4 straight. The KSW fights, that would be. He's not lost a fight since January 2021. Used to fight at featherweight, 2010 pro MMA debut, plus 163. Śmiełowski Krolik, Krolik. What is that?
No idea.
You don't know your Polish nicknames. Rabbit.
Okay.
So we got a rabbit versus a monkey. The rabbit is 10-1, 8 knockouts, 2 submissions, and he's been knocked out once. He owes us rounds, damn it. 2-1 in KSW. Lost his last fight via TKO. Won his last fight back in July of 2022, so he's on a little bit of a skid here. Used to fight at featherweight, 0-1-1 in pro boxing. 3 years younger than Kopera, 4 inches taller, 3 inches of reach. So all that is in his favor strongly. Minus 225.
I'm going to go with Kopera. I think this is a nice dog spot for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think people are writing him off just because of his record. You see 13-7. It doesn't instill confidence. But really, if you look, like you said, the recent results have been there for him. And you can draw a line where he took a reasonable length hiatus. I want to say it was like a year and a half. And if you look at his fights before and his fights after, completely different fighter. He's always been a guy who's really good at jiu-jitsu. He's always been a guy who, when he has you down, you're in danger. But if you watch most of his early fights, the ones that he's losing, when he does get you down, he's dangerous, but he has trouble getting it there. And he has trouble keeping it there. Then he took that year and a half off, and it seems like he committed himself in that time to working on the wrestling, working on the positioning, working on making sure that his jiu-jitsu isn't just good, but it's good at keeping people down. And when you look at Śmiełowski, I've seen him have trouble going multiple fights back to defending the takedown and to staying off of his back. And now you've got a guy who that's all he wants to do. He does a particularly good job of it now that he's sort of I don't know what the word is for. Maybe just reintroduced himself to how good he has to be in that realm. How he's refocused his training to working on that part of his game, and like he's gonna go in there against the guy who just happens to have that weakness. So you know that the style matchup's good. You know that you're getting a good line because this guy has had some rough. It kind of has a rough record, and you know that like you can sort of write off that rough record as being from almost a completely different fighter at this piece. So for all those reasons, I'm on Kopera here. I think, what'd you say? We were getting him at like plus 163. That's a pretty good line right there.
Pretty good. All right. Co-main event, which I tried to jump up to already, is a women's strawweight fight. Ewelina Woźniak, who we've spoken about before. She's from Poland versus Maria Silva from Brazil. We've spoken about her as well. So a couple returning people to the show. Woźniak is the Mad Queen, 8-2, 2 knockouts, 4 submissions. She's been submitted twice, 1-0 in KSW. That was a fight we talked about. And Gubby picked her. So there you go. Lost win over her last 4. She did win that fight I was talking about via submission. She lost to Silva via submission back in March of 2022. So this is one of our aforementioned rematches. She is a regional champion, plus 140. Viuva Negra, Viuva Negra means what?
Is it bad? No, it's not bad. That's Malvada that I'm thinking of that we sometimes talk about. Negra means black, right? Is it something Black Panther?
Black Widow. Black Panther was 2 episodes ago.
Kita.
Kieta. All right, Silva, 10-1, 3 knockouts, 4 submissions, never been finished in a fight. 2-0 in KSW, 1-1 on Contender Series. Hence, that's where we spoke about her. We used to fight at flyweight, 2013 pro MMA debut. 2 years younger than Woźniak, an inch of reach on her, minus 188.
So when I went back and I watched these two fight, I was before I went back and watched these two fight, I just watched their recent fights. And when I was making my notes, I was like, man, Silva is so much better on the feet. You know me, I'm a sucker for somebody who prefers the grappler over the striker. I'd made a little note. I think Woźniak has a slight grappling advantage or slight physicality advantage, and Silva is just going to piece her up on the feet anyway, pick Silva. And then I had completely forgotten because it was kind of a while ago that they had fought, and I was like, oh, let me pull that up again. And then Silva dominates her in the grappling, and I'm like, oh man, there is no path for Woźniak here then, because like for me, watching her most recent fights, like that's something she's pretty damn good at. She's good at being physical. She's good at jiu-jitsu. She's good at keeping people down. and then she was worse against Maria Silva. Ooh, that is not a good sign because Silva is much better than her in the feet. She's way faster. I think her striking is more technical even. I think she's got a technicality advantage in addition to power, speed, all those types of things. So man, this negative 188 line sort of perplexes me because mentally I had it like negative 225 for Silva. And then I realized this is a rematch and I'm like, man, this will probably be north of 300. And then I looked negative 188. That's a steal. Give me Silva. Probably the best value on this whole card.
Yeah, sounds like a steal. Fantastic. All right, before we jump into the main event, you got to talk about Rhythm. If you're betting on player props, then you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm is the go-to sports betting tool that transforms complex data into actionable insights, empowering bettors with smarter, data-driven decisions. Unlike other platforms, Rhythm combines advanced predictive analytics with an intuitive user experience, making betting both easy and enjoyable. Rhythm's predictive models were born for the brains of MIT data scientists and quants with over 3 years of data that help drive you to better AI-backed betting decisions. Rhythm projections have been red hot for WNBA and golf. Check it all out. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Gummy's finding some value plays for you here, which is good to see. All right, let's go to our main event. It's for the KSW Middleweight Championship. The returning champion, the current champion, Pawlak from Poland against Damian Janikowski from Poland as well. 5-minute rounds, 185 pounds. Tell you about Janikowski first, 10-5, 5 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out 3 times, submitted once. 9-5 in KSW. So all of his fights, save for 1, have been in KSW. He's won 3 straight and 4 or 5. His one loss, actually his last loss, was to Pavlak in September of 2021. So this is another rematch. He's a bronze medalist in the Olympics in wrestling. Perhaps you've heard of the Olympics. Plus 163. Pavlak Plastino, which means
plastic.
Yep, plastic. But is it Eno? So is it little plastic?
Tiny plastic?
Tiny plastic? 23, 4-1, 11 knockouts, 3 submissions, never been finished in a fight. 5-0 in KSW, and is the champion. He's already successfully defended his title once. He's won 8 straight and 9-0-1 over his last 10. He's not lost a fight since December 2018. Regional champion, used to fight at welterweight, 1-2 in the UFC. 2010 Pro MMA debut, an inch of height, 3 inches of reach over Janikowski, minus 225.
I'm going with Pawlak, not just because he won the first fight, but also just in general. You mentioned Janikowski, Olympic style wrestler, and Pawlak won most of the grappling exchanges in the early parts of their first fight. Now, he did wind up tiring a little bit and giving up some takedowns and giving up some positions later. But by then he had built enough goodwill on the feet because he is a much better striker. He's a guy who really works those low leg kicks, which again is going to pay dividends when you're fighting a wrestler. And that guy is, going to have less of a base to work off of. I think he's going to be good enough to, if not get his own takedowns, at least defend the takedowns early on Janikowski here. The more confidence he gains on that, the better it will be. I don't want to say it's going to go exactly the way it was before, but kind of how it went before is Pawlak showed that Janikowski's wrestling was not going to be too much of a threat to him and opened up with his hands more. I don't know, seeing him a second time, what's the path to victory to shaking that feeling? You're going to have to get the takedown real early to get any level of respect, or you're going to have to come out there and box with him. And I don't think he can box with him. I think he's going to eat, like I said before, a lot of low leg kicks. And I think Pawlak will just kind of take over in every sense of the word there. So give me Pawlak in the rematch here. Negative 225. Maybe not thrilled about that because Janikowski did look good enough in that fight where you were like, you could win a rematch. I'm not picking him, but it's a little bit closer than that.
All right. Let's recap, and then we'll see if he has any bonus plays for us in the lightning round. He's got Pavlak. He's got Silva in the 2 rematches. Kopera, Humburger, they're your dogs, and then Succar as the slight favorite in the first fight he picked. All right, lightning round, crash, bang, boom, zap. Do you have any bonus picks for us?
Yeah, so I got an underdog and a favorite for you. I'll start with the favorite, Maciej Kazierczko. He's just got so much power. The way that he's knocked people out and had them face plant and stuff like that. I think they're giving him a fight here where he can do the same exact thing again. He's coming in only at -188. I think there's some really good value in there. And then another one I really like, Nikolai Bivol is +163 right now. I kind of just love his submission skills, and he's going to be fighting Hugo Do, Deux, which is kind of a fun name. But he's like a judoka, kind of a shorter, stockier guy. And that's like that judo is not good necessarily for avoiding submissions, but like a lot of what I've seen from Bivol in the submission game is like when people get in the clinch and when they try to like do aerobatic double legs on him or big throws or things like that, he scrambles well and comes to really good positions. He's grabbed a couple of guillotines really nicely. I could totally see him doing that here against Do. So give me Bivol as a slight underdog and Kazierczko as a decent size favorite.
All right, there you go. You're all set for KSW. You're all set for, actually, I was going to say you're all set for Saturday's action, but you're not. We still have UFC, the big one. We'll be doing that tomorrow and the next day. Then you'll be all set for Saturday, a busy Saturday in MMA. In the meantime, we shall be discussing it all in our Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Make sure you hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. If you want to watch us and comment, that is great as well. MMA Gambling Podcast on YouTube. We're on Twitter, SGPN MMA. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm a Jeff Fox writer there and on Instagram. Get in my Substack, enter my UFC Pick'em contest. Check out all my writing there at moneymma.substack.com. Gumby's got another podcast. I'm not on it. I get a break. That is called the Top Turtle MMA Podcast. He's got the Meme Machine, Steve Garcia on it, and a Dana White Contender Series fighter who I've forgotten, even though you've told me twice.
Austin Bashi. Yeah.
There you go. Get Top Turtle in your ear holes. And we're at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. If you want to dress like a cool guy, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. And that's it. We're going to be back tomorrow. The Cedars Gal, going to be Vreeland. Who should I be? I'll be Krolik, Jeff Fox, and we shall talk to you tomorrow.